The New York Attorney General is investigating a massive hack at the Capital One Bank. It involves more than 100 million consumers. A 33-year-old American woman has been arrested by the FBI. Now, she's accused of gaining access to 140,000 US Social Security numbers, 1 million Canadian social insurance numbers, 80,000 bank account numbers. The hacker was caught in part because she boasted about it all online. The FBI complaint features these Twitter messages, which now show the suspect bragging about gaining access to all this data. I've strapped myself with a bomb vest if dropping Capital One's docs and admitting it. I want to distribute these buckets, I think, first. Anyway, you get the idea. Donie O'Sullivan is with me from Washington. I was reading Shelley Palmer's views this morning. He sort of says it wasn't a particularly sophisticated hack, and once it was done, she then basically put up a red balloon and said, "Here I am."
Yeah, it's incredible, really, Richard. I mean, you think of the lengths that many hackers go to cover their tracks, to conceal their identity, and then you had this woman, Paige Thompson, the suspect in this case, who was allegedly out there for months, bragging, saying what she did, and also posting some of the information up online. It actually raises, I think, some interesting questions too about what companies need to be doing more to proactively be on the lookout for information from their companies that's leaking, and how they could have caught this before they got tipped off to it by a concerned person who just emailed Capital One and said, "Hey guys, this woman is out there. She's boasting that she has your information." Is
there any evidence that the data has been used nefariously yet?
There's not, but I mean, the sort of means and methods of how to get in there, and the information was up online, available for quite some time. So, it's always very difficult to say whether for sure that this information has not been used, but Capital One saying at the moment that they have found no evidence of that. But more than 100 million people here in the US affected, and 6 million in Canada. It's actually one of the biggest breaches ever.
I'm one of the 100 million. And will obviously be checking my credit card statements extremely closely for the foreseeable future. Isn't this inevitable, though? As I said earlier on the Express, Donie, I've had every credit card that I've got, the issuer has had to write to me to tell me that it's been compromised. My health insurance has been compromised. Everything. It's just something we're going to have to live with.
I think you're right. Everything from your Facebook data to Equifax to...
Oh, yes. I forgot about that one. Yes, my Equifax account was hacked as well. Yes, thank you.
And then we see very little recourse, for these companies. I mean, you think about even Facebook last week getting the historic $5 billion fine from the FTC for not respecting users' privacy. That fine in itself is only about a month's revenue for the company. So there really isn't, proportionate punishment for acting in this way. And one thing that I think a lot of folks thought, that you mentioned that this was not a particularly sophisticated hack. It was not. One thing that is quite interesting is that this suspect was formerly an Amazon employee. Capital One was using Amazon's cloud services, but we're told that it involved no insider information or anything like that in order to get in, that the issues seem to be on Capital One's end rather than Amazon's.
Good to see you, Donie. Thank you, sir.